Okay, so I just wanted to film a little tutorial on a basic automation script using Python. This is really meant for pretty early beginners as it's not advanced at all. I also just want to show off real quickly a little bit of Neovim and also how to basically have a basic repository with GitHub. So first things first, I guess should explain the problem. Okay, so this is just these are empty files, dummy data, but as you can see, I have these 5 theoretical GameCube games, and I wanted to transfer them to my Wii's SD card. The only problem is they take a completely different format, so I can copy these over, but what I had to do for each file is copy the file name, create a folder, then rename this to game.iso and move it inside the folder. So you can see in this example there's only 5 dummy files, but I had I think 200 plus, and just thinking about it makes me nauseous. So I decided to write a script to handle this. So anyway, let's see if I can recreate it. I almost certainly won't be able to do this from memory. So so yeah, we'll go to repositories, click new, and then since I've already made this in a repository, I'm just gonna make a private dummy one. Okay, I was reading this wrong. I thought this was the license, and then here, it's not super important, but this is my general repository. I normally do public, but like I said, this is gonna be private for just for the example. So create it, and then copy the code. Now let's open the terminal. I'm already in my GitHub folder. Git clone repository. Okay, so first thing is let's open up Vim, the Vim file tree specifically. I created an alias so that I can use Vim to open in Vim, but normally it'd be like this. Now this is our repo folder, so this is oil file tree. That's the file tree extension I'm using. Basically just functions where the whole file tree is like Vim, so just go to insert mode, type main.py, and then if I save, it'll ask if I want to create main.py. So yes, so let's open main. Let's just write a quick description. I can make this a better description later, but copy Gamecube game files to Wii SD card. Okay. First things first, let us copy some important things. So I'm going to need both file paths. So we'll do GameCube. Okay. And then okay, so just creating 2 global variables for the folder paths. Real quick, this R in front of the quotation, that makes it a raw string. So normally, let's say I didn't want that, I would just have to add, see, you can see I need an escape character. But personally, I prefer to just do a raw string and keep the path the same, especially when I have a longer path with lots of subfolders, but that's just my choice. Okay, so first thing, let's loop through all the files. So I will need the OS extension. Now, I believe it's for now, just to be a little fancier, let's use an F string. So an F string is just a format string. So that's just saying file name, and then these squiggly brackets around the file just means use the variable file. Now let's see if we can. Cool. So you can see it's listing all the file names. Now one thing, let's say we have, I don't know, random document. You can see here, random document.txt. So let's do if file dot ends with .iso. Always forget that. Cool. LSP auto formatted. Now you can see, if you run it again, doesn't include the random.txt. And we'll just do them directly into main now. So we are looping through and we're finding every .iso file properly. Now let's just set some new variable names. So it'd be, since we're copying it into, so if we're copying it into a new folder, we need to create the folder first. And then when we copy it over, it will rename it. So essentially the script is going to look first file and it's going to create the new file name, which I want it to be all of this information. And then it'll go over here, create a new folder, and then it will copy this over. But while copying it over, it'll make the new name game.iso, the format we want. Just delete that. So os.path.join. So another package we need to import is from pathlib, import path. It's capital P. Now all this is doing is, like I said, creating the new folder name. You could just use some string parsing, but that's a little sloppy, so I find it much better to use. Let me just make sure everything's to use something like this. So okay. Now this should remove if it contains the .enkit because I don't want that. And not sure if I mentioned, but this .stem right here, that is just removing the .iso. So it's grabbing specifically what I want. So let's try just print new. I can't spell. We will print new folder name and new we. Okay, let's see if this works. So yeah, you can see it's going to be in the G drive, games folder, and then Super Smash Bros. Melee, USA, no.enkit, no.iso. So that looks correct to me. Now, actually, to make this a little cleaner, let's actually show off a little. So we'll enter visual mode and we'll just delete this and append it to the end. That way, it just saves a little bit of space. It's a little unnecessary to have that extra if statement. So now To be safe, okay, so this is just basically it's just checking if the folder does not exist. It will create it. Might as well add a little else statement. So I'm just printing it, so it's not actually creating anything yet. But let's say, for instance, Resident Evil 4, that folder already existed. You can see folder exists, Resident Evil 4. So we will use that as a skip. Okay. So if it doesn't exist, we want to create it. So os.make.ders new we folder. Now this is just creating the folder, so you can see if we go back. And over here, boom, we got all the folders. So just for the script, I'll delete them. Now let's start copying over the Gamecube files and renaming them. Okay, so we're just setting some variables. So this is making it an absolute path. So we can see here if we print absolute path to Gamecube game. So you can see, yeah, it's just giving the absolute path. Oh. Forgot to make this a F string. Yeah. Absolute path, F games. Yeah. So this is just the absolute path of the file. Makes it a lot easier to transfer it. Actually, before I open that, let me just delete these. Okay, so we have the absolute path to the Gamecube file, and then this will be the future absolute path to the game.iso. So same file, but new name. Now let's use, actually, I need to import another package. Import shuttle. And then we'll do shuttle.copy to. Now with this, the script should be basically done. So let me just print. Okay, I think everything looks good from here. So the script should be basically done. Let's save it, so this folder's empty. Just to see it a bit easier, I'll append this to the side. Cool. So now we have all the folders, and in each side one is game.iso. Perfect. You'll just have to trust that these are the right files. But yeah, I just wanted to show a quick script and show off a little Neovim. So you can see if I had, you know, over 200 games here, it'd be a pain, but this script just handles it instantly. And this is unlikely you'd do something exactly like this every day, but you'd be pretty surprised when just managing files can be a daily process. So simple Python scripts like this can make it really easy to just automate the whole process. Anyway, a few closing things. Script to move. Now if we refresh here, so I don't have comments, but you know, that's just for the tutorial. I normally recommend adding some basic comments and maybe wrapping this in a function, but a simple script like this isn't that important. But what is important is your README. So if a potential recruiter is looking at your GitHub, they almost certainly will not go through your actual code and read it, but they might open the repository and they will look. And if they just see this, it'll look pretty bad. So let's work on our README. Okay, so for this README, I'm just gonna copy one of my other repos. Let's delete that. And then copy Gamecube. So, copy Gamecube.iso files to SD card in proper format. And then let me just grab this link again. Real quick thing, I want to demo Harpoon. So if I do Control E, that's how I set it up, Harpoon's empty. But if I do leader A or space A, you can see I go to Harpoon, I have the README. Now, I want to go to my main, but just to show off the fuzzy finder, we'll do space FF. I can search main.py, have a little preview, open this. Now I do space A. You can see I have my README and my main. So if I do Control H, I jump to the first one. Control T, I jump to this. So it's just a cool way to jump between files super fast. Now let me just copy these. Oh, it's the wrong copy. I need to yank them. Jump here. Delete this. This doesn't really have features, so it doesn't really fit this. And then don't think we really need to include an example. And then I always leave my contact and then the project link. It's a bit redundant to have it twice, but just copy it. And then we'll go here and then paste it there. Files. Do so I believe that's everything. You can see in the git status, the README's been modified, so we'll add the README. README completed. Then go back here and boom. You can see this looks 100 times better, ignoring the kind of crappy repo name. But yeah, so I just wanted to show off a basic script. Really nothing too fancy, just to show that, you know, some simple Python coding can save you some time. But yeah, I hope you enjoy. If there's anything else you want to see in the future, let me know.